And we are live. Hello, everyone. Back again for another post-match show following West Ham's abysmal defeat at the hands of Manchester United by the score of 1-0. As always, I'm Chris, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Irish Tommy. Mate, how are you feeling?
Pissed off. That was awful. Completely unacceptable. Moyes again, unfortunately, just shitting the bed when we play a top six team. It's not good enough, frankly. I don't know what his problem is, Moyes. I don't know why he does this every time, but he does it every time, almost without exception.
At least against the big teams.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, these big six games. Maybe with the exception when we were away to City, he showed a little more adventure. But we still lost the game. So his record against them is horrendous. Like I think 19 Premier League seasons or years in the Premier League, he's never won at Old Trafford. He's never won away to Arsenal. He's never won away. He's never won away to Liverpool. He's never won away at Chelsea. Ever. I mean, is it any wonder when he sets up like this? I'm just so pissed off right now. He's got to stop doing this. I mean, when we saw the formation, we saw the lineup, saw Noble was starting, Benrahma and Lanzini on the bench, and I was just thinking, oh, here we fucking go. Here we go again. I don't know what his problem is or why he can't shake it off. But as Thibaut says, he has an inferiority complex about the Sky Sports Big Six, and he can't seem to shake it off. He just keeps doing it every single time. It's just getting kind of sickening now. The way he set up that game, it frustrates the fucking hell out of me, Chris.
Yeah. Really quickly, as a preface with this show, I was talking with Tommy about this. If anyone ever sees me looking over in this direction, for those of you who do not follow it, it is March Madness here in America with men's college basketball. My team is Ohio State, being where I'm from. We're currently playing in the Big Ten championship game. Overtime, less than a minute, down 3. Following this is the selection show for the big tournament. So I have my trusty iPad right here where I have YouTube TV on. So if you see me looking over or see me reacting in any way, that is why. But yeah, going into this match, like you had said, the formation said it all. Obviously, we had no Pablo Fornals due to late injury. But I had tweeted or I had DM'd you this. Saeed Benrahma cannot buy a start. I don't understand what it is.
Well, tonight is explainable. If you want to talk about, because obviously it's a post-match show, so we're talking about tonight's game. Reason we didn't do it is because Moyes is terrified of the big six teams and wants to set up very negatively, park the bus, sit back, get everyone behind the ball. There was a reason. Like the first half, we didn't get a single shot off. Never mind on target. We didn't get a single shot off in the first half because he set us up to give us very little chance of doing that. So that's why Benrahma didn't start tonight. We can talk about Benrahma in general, but tonight he didn't start because Moyes just doesn't do that against the big six. He just doesn't. He's terrified of them. He's like a little baby, when it comes to those teams. And let's not, it wasn't even Man United's best 11. They were missing some players. And this is a United team that we could absolutely go head to head with. And take them on and see what we could do. And it showed after we went 1-0 down, he finally gets Mark Slobel off the pitch and gets Benrahma on, gets Lanzini on, switches to the flat back 4, much more balanced side, much more, balance between attack and defense. And we were much better after he made those changes. So who knows what might have happened if he'd had a pair of bollocks, right from the beginning. and actually
Yeah.
put up a balanced team which had a chance of doing something on the attack.
Yeah.
This isn't like a brilliant United 11. Like
No,
they're a
no.
very good side, obviously, but this is a team we should feel we could go head to head with and potentially even beat. But unfortunately, Moyes doesn't think that way, and it drives me crazy. I think it drives everyone crazy.
Well, I mean, it's the tactics in general, especially against the top six, obviously. But you and I were talking about this right after right at the start of the second half. I noticed this. I think just about everyone else noticed this too. Ben Johnson's now playing on the right with Soufal, and Bowen's playing on the left as a wingback. What was that decision? Like, why?
I have no idea what was going on there. It was just bizarre. Chris, yeah, Noble's not a shut down anything. Listen, I'll come back to that, Chris. The Noble question is a simple one in my book. He is not a Premier League player anymore. He just cannot compete at that level anymore. It's patently obvious. The game's just passing by, and like for Moyes to be starting Noble in games now is ridiculous. And I don't even care who we're playing. He's a liability. He cannot do it at Premier League level anymore. And I love Noble as much as anyone, but he's past it. The only thing Noble is good for right now is helping us to shut out a game in the final kind of 10 or 15 minutes.
The two things he's good at is legs in the end and leadership.
Yeah, because he's coming in a slowed down game because, the players that are on the pitch have been on there already for 75 or 80 minutes. The game is slowed down already. Opponents are tireder. And so, yeah, Noble can sit in deep in the last 10 or 15 minutes and help to see a game out. I'm fine with him doing that, but that's all he should be doing now. We can't be starting Noble in games. It's crazy. It's like playing with 10 men. And I don't know what Moyes is thinking. Frankly, I just don't. He's got to stop doing this. And sorry, what was it you had asked me, Chris?
The only thing I had asked you is what was the decision making with?
Oh, this was the switch. Yeah, where he switched.
Johnson on the right, more as I couldn't tell if he was supposed to be a wing back or a right wing, and then Bowen as a left wing back. I didn't understand that. Bowen, I didn't think had a great game at all. I know you're a big fan of him, but I mean, he has just looked poor, like for several months now.
Yeah, he's not having a good season. His form hasn't been great. I don't know. I'm surprised. I wouldn't have started him tonight, frankly. You have to go with the players who are showing some form, and if a player is not playing well, like Bowen, you can't have him in the team. So I think having Bowen and Noble in there really, really disturbed everything and didn't give us much of a chance, really.
And I know you had tweeted about it as well, but Antonio was poor as well, man.
Yeah, Antonio, particularly in that first half, I think he was better, a bit better when we switched to the 4-2-3-1 and Benrahma and Lanzini were on the pitch. We had a little bit more support up there. But in the first half, Antonio I thought was really poor. Who said the goal was Noble's fault? What's that got to do with anything?
It wasn't. He said it wasn't Noble's fault.
I know. Who said it was? What's that got to do with anything?
I don't know.
I haven't seen a single person blame Noble for the goal.
Yeah.
Not one. I don't know why Mark is bringing that up. Nobody's blaming Noble for the goal. It's a moot point.
Yes, Rob, you are correct on this. I will give you that we're basically playing 10 players back. But at the same time, when he did get the ball and he did have support, I mean, he was misplacing passes. He just didn't look sharp.
No, I mean, there were times he did get into some decent positions in behind early. We actually started relatively brightly, and Antonio did get in behind a couple of times. Unfortunately, his passing is awful. Antonio, he was not good. I'm sorry, he just wasn't. This was not one of his better games. I accept the point that he didn't have any help. So I'm not blaming him for in that sense. But in the times where he did on the few occasions where he did get into kind of promising positions and he was able to get on the ball and get at them in and around their box, his final ball was really poor. There was a layoff in midfield as well that he attempted to Rice, I think, and he really sold him short. And he wasn't good tonight, Antonio, unfortunately.
No.
Look, he's having a good season. Obviously, this isn't me kind of. I don't have an anti-Antonio agenda or
Yeah.
anything.
It
We're
just
just
wasn't
talking
his
about
game.
tonight.
It just wasn't his game.
No, it wasn't, and it might have been different. Who knows? Maybe if we'd started correctly, then perhaps Antonio might have had more touches and maybe would have been able to do something with them. But he's just not been good. It's just frustrating because it was a real opportunity tonight, given the results over the weekend.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. We still have a goal. We still have a game in hand, and we're still 5th place. So I mean,
yeah. Unfortunately, see, the problem now, Chris, is that game in hand doesn't really help us all that much as regards 4th place. Even if we win that game in hand, we can't overtake Chelsea. If we'd have managed even a point tonight, winning that game in hand would put us a point above Chelsea.
Yeah.
So the way Moyes set up today, he's hurt us. He has. You just have to say it. He's hurt our chances of doing something incredible. He has to take this one on the chin, Moyes, and I hope it's another frustrating thing is that how does he not know already? I mean, this has been going on, like not just at West Ham. This has been going on with Moyes for years. He did the same thing when we were at home to Liverpool. It just showed them far too much respect. Played against the badge rather than the 11 that were out on the field, and he did the same tonight. He said, "Oh, we're playing the mighty Manchester United," and he shit the bed again. This has got to stop.
It makes sense too, because the first time out against United earlier this season, I mean, yes, we lost 3-1, but we gave it our all in that match and just didn't take our chances. Why could we not have just set up and played like that? We knew we could take it to them, and as long as we just took our chances. But it's Moyes. I think part of the factor that he takes into account too is even though there's no fans in the stands, it's an away game, and it just feels like he does that more often than not as well when it's away.
Yeah, it's just annoying. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
His record against the Sky Sports top 6 is absolutely terrible.
Especially this year too.
This season is this is par for the course with Moyes. This is how his record has always been against those teams, and it's not coincidence.
This is fair, Mark. But I mean, at the same time, as much as it sucks, I mean, we bash Liverpool for saying, yeah, they're not playing well. It's because they don't have center backs. You have to play with the cards that you're dealt, and that's just what we were.
Yeah, dealt. Look. Granted, we didn't have Fornals or Lingard, but we had Benrahma and Lanzini.
Yeah, I mean, we still had attacking presence.
This literally a swap, a plug and play swap. Lingard and Lanzini, Lanzini and Benrahma are a plug and play swap for Lingard and Fornals. So I don't understand why you couldn't just put them in and say it would have given us a much better balance between defense and attack. I mean, especially it's like how many defenders do you need really? When you're playing that formation, you've already got 3 centre backs and 2 wing backs, right? Defending, and you've got Rice and Soucek in front of them. So, ahead of that, you've got to be more positive. You've got to give yourself some kind of a chance. There's absolutely no reason to include Noble in there, because all Noble's going to be able to do is sit in there as well. But he's so slow that players just breeze past him. Players just saunter past him with the ball. And he can't turn quick enough. And once they've gone past him, that's it. He's out the game. He can't get back at them. I mean, he's just like a fucking lost puppy in there. And it's not fair on Mark either, because you don't want this to be kind of something he's remembered for either, like of him being completely lost in games. He was a really good player for us. It's just he's past it now. So Moyes isn't doing any favors to Noble's legacy either with this stuff, as a player. I mean, so there's absolutely no reason you couldn't have had Benrahma, Lanzini, and Antonio. tonight, and that's what we should have done if he was going to go with that formation. At
This
least that
I
would have
agree.
given us. At least that gives us a chance, on the counter attack. That we've got some skill. We've got players who can carry the ball out. We've got good feet. But unfortunately, yeah, we're Rob. Like I say, Rob is spot on. We put out, a team that we looked. Might set up like we were a team with no confidence. Like that's struggling badly, and like he felt like our only chance in this game was to dig our heels in, park the bus, and cross our fingers that we could keep them out for a 0-0. And given the players that we have, despite the fact that we don't have Lingard or Fornals available for that game, we still have enough there. Like the form of the players, the confidence of the players, the ability of the players we can put on the pitch. We shouldn't be negative like that.
Yeah. Folks, for anyone who cares too, like I said earlier with regards to Ohio State, we're about to lose by about 6 points in overtime. So not a great sporting day for myself. Tournament bracket's about to come out. We're looking at a 1 or 2 seed, probably a 2 seed now. So at least I have that to look forward to this week. But yeah. Just disappointing overall. The only bright spot I think was Fabianski. Tremendous effort. Obviously, goal wasn't really his fault. Sucks with Dawson as well. I mean, we lost by 3. Sorry.
Look, you can't blame. Okay, look, it's unfortunate for Dawson. It's just bad luck. That happens. But you can't really dig out the defense. They worked extremely hard under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Because of the way Moyes set up, it was inevitable that United were just going to be coming at us in wave after wave after wave. And to only concede the 1 goal, I thought was tremendous, actually.
And it wasn't even scored by them.
Yeah, it wasn't even scored by them in the end. But no, defensively, I thought, really, really good defensive effort. But it just put the defense under too much pressure. It was just nonstop. Because we had absolutely no way of bringing the ball out and holding possession for any period of time. United were so comfortable at the back. I mean, Dean Henderson didn't have a single shot come in his direction in the entire first half. Not one. No. Not one shot came his way, let alone one he had to save. I mean, it was, it's shameful, really. It's a kind of, because you're aware. Look, this is live on TV, and there's probably millions of people watching it, and you're thinking, this is the representation they're seeing of West Ham. Is this team that just wants to park the bus, get 10 men behind the ball, dig in, trying to get a 0-0, and it's not a good look. I actually feel kind of embarrassed, that this is my team, that's, out there doing this, and I just hate it when Moyes does this. I mean, it's got to stop, but I mean, there's no reason to think it will, unfortunately.
Yeah, the question is now, though, too. We play Arsenal in our next match. Will Moyes do the same shit?
It's entirely possible, yeah.
I mean, we'll have Lingard back. We should have Fornals, I think. But the big question is he going to go defensive and negative like this again? And I'm really concerned about it because, I mean, we haven't lost, like someone had said earlier, we haven't lost 2 in a row since the first 2 matches of the season. But if he lines us up like that again, I'm afraid we will. I mean, they're on a good run of form at the moment.
Yeah, Arsenal had a good result, obviously, earlier against Tottenham as well, and they're having a bit of a revival. Their form has improved. But listen, they're still not fucking brilliant, Arsenal. This is still not a team we should be terrified of. Arsenal are having their own troubles, So I'd like to think that we would play a flat back 4 on that one at home against Arsenal and, play our 4-2-3-1. Get Lingard in there. I'd love to see, Lingard. If you're saying Fornals, I don't actually quite know what's the story with Fornals. Will he be available?
It was like a pulled muscle, I think, or something like that, and he had a late fitness test and barely failed it. So I mean, it's not like he's got like a torn ACL or something like that. It was an injury that they just didn't put him in out of precautionary reason.
Yeah. So it would be nice to see the 4-2-3-1 at home to Arsenal next week. I'd like to see kind of Lingard, Fornells, and Benrahma start with Antonio up top. So, if we do that, we have a real chance of winning against Arsenal. But you never know with Moyes. Is he going to set up with the wing backs again and play terrified? I hope he doesn't, because Arsenal don't deserve that much respect.
No, I mean they're on a good form now, but this season they have not been extraordinary.
Yeah, so we'll wait and see. Obviously, it's hard to second guess what Moyes is going to do, but
let me ask you this too: what are your thoughts on Benny Johnson?
I'll tell you what it is with Ben. I think Ben will get there. I do think he has talent, and I think he'll get there. See, he'll be fine. I think he will keep improving. Obviously, look, he's not the finished article. The reason is it's going to take some time with him because he doesn't play every week. Remember, obviously, when Rice came through, he was put in, and essentially Rice was put in, and largely, with the odd exception, was left in, and was played week in, week out, week in, week out, and so Rice's improvement was exponential over the course of a single season. Johnson doesn't have that luxury, unfortunately, because if we play a flat back four, he doesn't play, basically. He only really plays if we play with the wing back system, which we don't do all the time. So he plays sometimes, but a lot of the time he doesn't start. So with him, I think it's just going to be a slower burn. It's just going to take him a bit longer to get there. But yeah, I know you're asking because it maybe didn't have one of his best games tonight, and but then
it's not just tonight, but the last few appearances for him, everyone's been kind of slating him. Some rightfully so, obviously. Some with some regards. I was just curious as to what your opinions on him were. So, yeah, for me, I think I agree with you. I think he's going to get there, and the only way that he's going to improve is by getting minutes. So it's kind of one of those things where you have to just keep kind of throwing him out there, get him the experience he needs to be able to grow.
Yeah, and of course, look, a lot depends on what Moyes thinks of him. Obviously, Masuaku is back in training now, so it could be that the next time we play that wing-back system, it might be, unless it's against Arsenal, I think that'll be too soon for Masuaku. But
yeah,
it might be that the next time we see the wing-back system, it could be Masuaku who gets the nod and gets thrown back in.
I think it should be regardless. Masuaku before his surgery, I mean, he was having a career-defining year, basically. He was one of the top players in the club, so I think. Hey, sorry, real quick. The seeding's coming in. My alma mater, OU, winners of the MAC are 13th seed playing Virginia, 4 seeds. So, but yeah, I do think Masuaku comes back in.
Yeah, I think it's almost inevitable. Johnson is good defensively. He puts a shift in, and he does well, I think, defensively. Johnson just needs to improve going forward. He needs to do better going forward. He needs to tidy up his passing. I mentioned Antonio, misplaced passes earlier where he had a poor game. I thought Johnson was the same. He misplaced a number of passes. So he has to work hard, Johnson. If he's going to make it, he has to work on his passing. He has to improve going forward some of his decision making. But defensively, I think he's fine. I don't have a problem with Johnson. Like, for example, if Cresswell had an injury or a suspension, I'd be absolutely fine with Johnson playing as left back. Because he is a fullback essentially. He's been kind of shoehorned into the wing back role as well. Let's be honest. It's not a natural position for him, and it's something he's having to adjust to. But defensively, Johnson's really good. So it may be that Johnson will will never be a great wing back, but he might still
Yeah.
turn out to be a really, really good fullback.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, look, the same is true on the other side of Kufal. I think in the wingback system, Kufal is decent, but I don't think Kufal is a great wingback. He's an absolutely top class right back.
He can do the job at wing back, but it's not his strongest position.
No, but I think the same is true with Johnson. Is what I'm saying.
No, I agree.
I don't think we should be too harsh on him.
No.
I think Johnson, like Kufal, Johnson is a natural, full orthodox fullback, and that's the role. That's the role where that's the role where I think Johnson will make it. Now, it may be that Johnson will replace Cresswell as our orthodox left back, with either Masuaku or someone else we bring in taking over the wing back role. So don't necessarily judge Johnson as a wing back, because his future probably isn't as a wing back.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to think about any other player. I mean, overall, it wasn't a great performance, but I mean, Declan still performed well. I was very nervous when he went down early on in the match.
That challenge from McTominay, that was a hard challenge.
It looked like it was more of just a dead leg than anything, fortunately. So,
yeah, we're very lucky that two of our very, very key players, Rice and Souček, are really, really robust. That they can go into those challenges and come through them and somehow not be injured. They can run things off. Thank God neither of them are injury prone. Sofel goes around attacking goalposts and he's fine, to carry on and stuff. So, Souček, look, this is normal for players. So listen, there's games where Rice hasn't been at his absolute
absolutely.
And it happens. Look, no player is going to be brilliant week in, week out without exception. Every player, listen, Bruno Fernandes, arguably the best player on the pitch, of the two teams tonight. Bruno Fernandes has quiet games. It's and he's a quality. De Bruyne, I've seen De Bruyne, who I think De Bruyne is the best player in the league. And I've seen De Bruyne have quiet games. You can't judge him off that. It's Souček is fine. Souček is just absolute key player, and he's brilliant for us. And I
was concerned about how often in the match he was our lead man. Like Antonio was back playing center mid, and Souček was our striker.
Yeah, you never know where Souček will turn up. He does like to get forward and attack the box, which is great. We want him to keep doing that. But no, Souček is brilliant, But again, I think Souček, what was he going to do? Given the way we set up.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like the rest of the team,
so he was probably instructed to stay back as much as possible. So.
Yeah, of course. Like Souček, listen, players aren't stupid. I don't pretend to know what Moyes said to the players, but when players see the setup, when they see the formation, when they see the 11, they see Noble is starting there to make a 3 with Rice and Souček.
Yeah,
players, listen. That's like, okay, boss. Message is clear here. We're parking the bus, and we're digging in, and we're going to try and keep it at 0-0. And that gets across to players. They're not stupid, And so the players basically did what they could see the manager wanted from them, which is just to be ultra defensive. And so, of course, Souček spent all his time, chasing people, because we didn't have the ball anyway. We had 30-something% possession. It was 37%, something like that, the first half. And so if you don't have the ball, what are you going to do? Virtually all our players are spending their entire time chasing Man United players around, and trying to close them down and put blocks in and stuff, and So I'm not sure exactly what Souček was expected to do in those circumstances, or Rice. I mean, you saw the difference.
Yeah.
When Moyes did change the formation, brought Lanzini and Benrahma on. Do you see the difference in Rice and Souček?
Yeah.
How far up the field they were getting the ball.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they came on, it was immediate change. It was immediate change. And it was frustrating. First of all, I thought that they should have come on at halftime. But the longer it kept going on, I just started screaming at the TV, let them make the sub, let them make an impact.
Yeah. But the difference it made to Rice and Soucek was massive. They were both driving into United's half. You know, either with the ball or getting possession in there after making a run in there. And it was a completely different game. And you're just thinking to yourself, if you'd have just had some balls and started the game like this, you know, who knows what might have happened? Might we have lost anyway? Of course. But at least we'd be sitting here saying, well, geez, we rightly gave that a go. You know, and we went after it and we tried to win this game and get the 3 points. Like we did at City. We come on here, Chris, you and I, after we lost to Man City, and we were saying, despite the fact we lost, we're very happy with the performance, very happy with the attitude and the way we went about it, and that we really tried. And we were actually unlucky away at City not to come away with anything. So it's not just about whether we won or lost. It's the nature of the defeat. And this, unfortunately, the nature of this defeat is the same as when we played Liverpool at home. It was a capitulation from Moyes.
Yeah, it was just too much respect.
Yeah, it was just a capitulation, far too much respect, and he hamstrung us. Really, Moyes gave us no chance. You know, and that's why we're all kind of pissed off about this. It's not just the loss. You know, we'll lose games the way we did at City, but we were happy because we went out against City and we really, really made them earn that win, and we were unlucky not to get something. We played really well, and it was actually as positive as a defeat can be. But tonight's the opposite. You know, despite the fact it was only 1-0, it was a horrible defeat.
Really quickly, I was correct. Ohio State, my team is a 2 seed in the South bracket. Sorry. Which means they consider us the 6th best team in the country.
Excellent.
So, I'll be finding out here in just a second. We are playing Oral Roberts.
That sounds like a person. I'm sure that's not fair. So you've got 5 players on the court, and there's just poor Oral Roberts trying to put out fires. Just probably standing in front of the net, just trying to keep everything out.
Yeah. I'm happy with the 2nd seed. We'll see how we do in the tournament. I'm excited for it, but yeah.
Well, listen, Rob is correct. This one's not on the players. It does, yeah. No. Yeah, Rob Hart is right. You can't blame the players for this one. There are times when you can blame the players, when Moyes gets it right and the players just don't turn up and don't put in a good enough performance. And we've had games like that this season. Well, it's not on Moyes, but tonight it's not on the players and it is on Moyes. He set us up for defeat. He set us up for defeat, and unfortunately, that's what we got. So it's, I don't know. I keep saying it's got to stop, but I think Moyes has been doing this for so long. Yeah, Moyes has been doing this for so long. You know, you would think by now he would have realized. I mean, tonight should serve as. You would think this game would serve as a lesson for Moyes. You know, the way we started, the formation, the setup, very negative. It was all United. They inevitably scored and went 1-0 up. And then when he changed it, we were far, far better. Far, far better. And you would think he would have, he'd reflect on that and say, you know what? Got that wrong. Next time.
According to Rob in the post-match show or the post-match interview, he said he has no regrets about the lineup. So that's not confidence inspiring.
No, that's just, I don't know, just blinkered or just stubborn. Maybe no, I don't know what the question was. Maybe he got defensive. I don't know, but it's. I would hope privately, whatever he says publicly, I would hope privately that he'd go home and be thinking to himself, or on the bus or the plane, whatever they're getting back, and be thinking to himself, "Oh shit, maybe I just should have started with flat back four and 4-2-3-1 and started Benrahma, Lanzini, and really been more positive and gone for it." Because I doubt it, because this has been going on for years and years and years with Moyes. So unfortunately, he self-awareness on this particular subject just doesn't seem to be there. I think it's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time before this happens again.
Really quickly. One of the questions asked in the post-game news conference: do you think the performance after you sent on Benrahma and Lanzini can give you more confidence when you go into games against the top six? Moyes gets a little. I think Moyes has some dementia here. I think we have recently just won against some of the top six teams, and we've had to go against them. We thought tonight that the way we would play with two up top, Jared Bowen and Mikel Antonio, as two forwards to start with, we might give them a problem to start with. So I saw them as being positive in a different way.
Very naive.
We've won one game against the top six, the traditional top six this season. That was Tottenham.
Yeah,
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's a very naive statement. Like Jared Bowen spent most of his time defending. It's because everyone else was pulled back. The distance between, say, Antonio and Bowen was a mile. Bowen was out in the wing all the time, helping out defensively with Safal. How is he a fucking striker out there? He was out in the wing all the time. That's not front two.
And then
Antonio is completely
left wing back.
Yeah, and then Antonio is completely isolated. The distance between Antonio and everyone else was a mile.
Question from Foshizi. Oh, where is it? There it is. Do you still trust Moyes with the choice of the starting lineups going forward? For me, it's only if it's against a team that's not traditional top six.
Against 14 teams, yes. Against 6 teams, no. I don't trust him against the Sky Sports top 6. He clearly is terrified of them.
He gives them way too much respect. Lets them come at us too much.
He plays the badge.
Yeah.
Not the 11 that are in front of him.
He plays the history.
He plays the badge, the history. It's a huge club and all that, and he's just terrified of them. So I trust him against the other 14 teams, 100%. And he's proven that this season. Our record against the other 14 is immense. So yeah, I trust him in those games. But games like this, especially the away games, like you said, Chris, unfortunately, he tends to lose his bollocks.
He thought he was playing under Belichick again.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. There was no need for that tonight. But he's true to form, I guess, for Moyes. But
what this game also does, though, show too, with regards to the likes of Antonio, is again, we need strikers. We need more play. We do not have any depth. We don't have we didn't have Fornals. We didn't have a secondary striker that we could bring on to back up Antonio. Even Yarmo, I think, could have been in a good position in that one to help. He could have done something to help us, but it just shows how much is needed in this next transfer window, especially if we were to somehow sneak into Europe.
Yeah, look, that's the elephant in the room. As much as I like Antonio, I think he's limited ability-wise, bit of a bull in a china shop, and I love the guy. Don't get me wrong, and he plays his ass off every time he goes on the pitch. But we do need a real proper quality number 9.
Antonio, if we were to bring in a proper striker who fits our formation and everything, Antonio would be an incredible super sub. Bring him on with that bully mentality against a back line that's exhausted towards the end of the match.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
He would be an immense.
Be a great super sub. But you'd even have him available to play in Bowen's position, because, like you said, Bowen's form isn't good. So
very, very poor.
You can imagine if we had a proper striker, proper number 9, like a Dean Ashton type player to play up front tonight. You could have played Antonio where Bowen was, and he can still have a real impact out there. You know, so yeah, that's the elephant in the room. This summer we have got to get our number 9 in, someone who's a natural finisher, who has some pace about him, can run in behind, especially as we play a lot on the counter. So fingers. No, I think we will do that. It's just you have to cross our fingers now that whoever we bring in is going to be the right guy for the job. And
Yeah, we've been pretty notorious at picking the wrong people as of late.
yeah, I mean, since Golden Sullivan took over, our record at signing strikers is absolutely woeful. So fingers crossed we get that right. But tonight, unfortunately, is all about Moyes' inferiority complex when it comes to the big six, and just looking forward to the Arsenal game next weekend. Just have to hope that he doesn't really view them that way as much as he used to.
Yeah,
Um,
getting into the Arsenal game, then how do you feel going into that one on the back of this?
Not so bad. Look, I think, like I said, look, Moyes will do this, particularly away to teams like Man United. He'll set up really, really negative. But I think at home to Arsenal, I expect something more positive. I think he'll revert to 4-2-3-1. I think he'll go back to the flat back four. Lingard will come back in. Fornals, if he's available, I think will play. And hopefully, I mean, I would love to see him play, Lingard, Fornals, Benrahma, and Antonio up
It seems
top
like
against Arsenal.
or Lingard and Benrahma kind of bring out the best in each other. So
They do. I mean, I think they have a really great understanding with each other. They look like they really like playing together. The first time we really saw it properly was away at Villa. And Benrahma and Lingard were absolutely brilliant that night. The way they played off each other, their interplay was superb. They did it as well last week against Leeds at home. They played some tremendous stuff. The link up play between them was excellent, and I think we've got to unleash that again against Arsenal, because Arsenal are open at the back, much like Leeds. Okay, they have better players, they're a better team than Leeds, but Arsenal will let you play football. And when you're playing at home against a team that will let you play football, you've got to get players on the pitch that can play football. And that means Lingard and Benrahma. So, and Fornals can play. So, fingers crossed, we'll do that. And listen, we've actually tended to outplay Arsenal. We haven't got the results, but our actual performances against them have been really good. So we certainly shouldn't be afraid of Arsenal, and hopefully Moyes won't be. So fingers crossed. Next week it'll be much more positive. That we'll have a much more positive performance and result to talk about. Because I think after this reversal, we really don't want to be dropping points again next week. We see this kind of puts a bit of pressure on next week's game now. Moyes has really put himself under pressure and put the players under pressure for next week with this capitulation against United tonight. So we've really, had we gotten something tonight, it wouldn't be as bad. But I think the fact that we lost at home to Arsenal next week now, I think we've really got to go out and win this game.
Yeah, absolutely, and I wholeheartedly agree. I wouldn't say it's like a season-defining game, obviously, but it's right up there.
Yeah, I look every game now, because we're getting into the run-in really now. There's 10 games left, so we've really got to make sure we don't come apart now. Back-to-back defeats would be damaging. Wouldn't be fatal by any means, but it would certainly be damaging, and you don't want the confidence waning either. So if we could get a bounce back win against Arsenal next week in a much better performance, then obviously we'd be able to kind of put this one behind us,
Yeah,
a bit and move on. But for tonight, it's I'm kind of disgusted, to be honest. I fucking hate it when he does this.
yeah.
Absolutely hate it. He's done it a few times this season. Weirdly, he did it at home to Brighton.
Yeah.
For some bizarre reason, at home to Brighton, he decided to get
That's
really
what
negative.
we'll look back on, like, what was he thinking?
Yeah, I'll never understand that one. I think we understand the psychology in a game like tonight, where he's just afraid of a huge club,
Yeah.
But home to Brighton, and Noble started that one as well, by the way. So unfortunately, when Noble has played, we haven't won a game. I think we've lost 3, drawn 1, or is it lost 4 and drawn 1 now when Noble has played or something? It's not good. So,
well, whenever you bring in Noble, you know that it's a negative lineup. I mean,
yeah, as soon as the lineups come out and I saw Noble in there, I was like, oh Christ, here we go again. This is park the bus stuff.
Yeah,
it's
doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
but,
look, I don't want to keep going over the same old things, but
yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, we've kind of exhausted everything we have to talk about. So before we kind of sign off here, is there any final words you'd like to say?
No, not really. I think I've covered everything I wanted to say. Just Rice was fucking quality, though.
Yeah,
like when we changed formation. I mean, the difference in Rice when we changed formation. Once Noble was out of there, and it was just him and Soucek again with the 3 in front, like they're used to. Rice showed what he's made of. Just showed what, I mean, just absolute quality. I think the commentator this side of the pond, I know you wouldn't have heard it, or the co-commentator described him as a quarterback. The way he just controls everything from the middle of the field. Just sprays the ball around. Yeah, just sprays the ball around and stuff like that. I mean, Rice is absolute fucking quality player. We've got to hold on to him. He's unbelievable, and he showed his quality. Finally, he was able to show his quality when Moyes finally got the formation of personnel on the field right. And Rice, those last 30 minutes, I thought Rice looked absolute fucking mustard.
Yeah, if we played like that the entire match, it would have been a draw at worst.
Yeah, I think had we started like that, I think we 100%. I think we would have got something out of that. I really do, because United wouldn't have nearly as much of the ball. See, because United were 1-0 up, even after we changed the formation, when they were on the ball, United were able to slow things down. They were able to take their time, pass it around. They didn't have to force anything because they were 1-0 up, and so they were happy. And so it made life more difficult for us. But if we'd have started more positively and got at them a bit more, like we did after we conceded, it would have been a totally different game. We maybe wouldn't have been losing, and they wouldn't have that luxury of kind of just knocking the ball about. They'd have had to been kind of going looking for a goal as well, and that would have afforded us more possession, because obviously when you're doing that, you make more mistakes and you misplace more passes. So we'd have had a bit more possession, and we would have hopefully been able to create more chances with that possession. So it's a shame. It's a shame. I'm going to have to sleep this one off, but I think I'll just. This is one of those games I just want to put it behind me, forget this game ever happened, and from tomorrow I think I'll just start looking forward, maybe to the Arsenal game, and fingers crossed. Next weekend we'll be talking more positively, Chris.
Yeah. Here, but fair enough, Chris.
Well.
All right. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah. Listen, I can't add much more to that. I do look forward to the next match. I think we are gonna come out a different side. I think we're gonna. I do think we're gonna take it to them. And yeah, I mean, obviously this wasn't the greatest. This was a horrible, horrible, horrible match. But we move on. We're still fifth. Still 10 matches to go. Who knows where we're going to end up this season. So, listen, thank you again, Tommy, for joining me as always. Thank you for everyone joining us in the chat. And we will be back here next. It's Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be back here following the Arsenal match. But until then, come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.